Hello, my name is Jim. Welcome to my booktube channel about books and reading and stuff. This video will be a bit different from usual. I'll be doing a tag. I'll be doing Bob The Bookerer's End of Days tag, but I'll also be cooking chili con carne. This is not a cookery channel. I will link in the show notes to a cookery channel where they show you properly how to make chili con carne, but you'll just see or get some idea of how I make it. Okay, I'm going to make chili con carne. I got the idea of making chili from watching Bill Ruttenberg's video about his favourite things. Got some Georgian beef mince here. If you're vegetarian you can substitute soya mince. Got some tomato paste. Just got half a chili, some garlic, bell pepper, some pulped tomatoes, an onion, olive oil, some kidney beans, paprika, then some chocolate. Elizabeth from Bookings and Books says she likes anything with chocolate, so this is chili con carne with chocolate. It actually gives it a richer flavour, although you can't taste the chocolate in the finished dish. And then we've got some rice to serve it with and some Georgian wine. Georgia is the cradle of winemaking. First put a little drizzle of olive oil in the pan. There's about 300 grams of mince here. We'll cook that for about 10 minutes. Chili con carne is one of those great British dishes like chicken tikka masala and spaghetti bolognese. Here, all the water's coming out of the mince. If you want a proper recipe for British chili con carne, I'll leave a card here. This isn't a cookery channel, it's actually a booktube channel, so while I'm doing this I'll be doing Bob The Bookerer's End of Days tag. First prompt: a book that contains a prophecy or promise, whether it comes to pass or not. For prophecy, I like to mention Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I think it's more prophetic of our current times than 1984 by George Orwell. George Orwell did have the surveillance culture very much predicted. There's CCTV everywhere. But I think there's a lot more in Brave New World that's happening now, where we're consuming more than ever just for the sake of consuming, and we tend to be getting more and more into, you're born into the class that you're born into, because things like student loans make it prohibitive to move through the classes unless you've already got a lot of money. Here are my veggies I'm going to chop up. There's an onion, some garlic, half a chili and a bell pepper. Garlic and bell pepper are very good at this time. They've got lots of anti-immune properties. Bell pepper's of course got beta carotene, and garlic is very good at boosting the immune system. This is the onion I'm chopping up. Ideally you should have a sharp knife for this. This is not bad. I'll try not to cry while I do it. And you want it in fine dice. Yeah, you can tell I'm not a professional chef. Take the skin off this one, and again slice it. Into a nice fine dice. That's good. That mince looks nice and brown now, a lot of flavour there. I'm going to take that out, but still use the pan to fry my veggies. Here's the onions and the pepper we're sauteing now. Second prompt is Apocalypse, a book that deals with the apocalypse. I've recently listened to The Stand by Stephen King on Audible. This is about a deadly flu strain that was created in a laboratory, and it escapes. And it's 99% lethal, and it's about the remnants of society who go towards either two people. One is Randolph Flagg, who's a bit of a stereotypical evil lord, and the other is Mother Abigail, who's an incredible 108 years old. One's in Las Vegas, one's in Colorado, and there's going to be a stand for the end of civilization. Winter, a book that talks about winter. What could be better than served cold? This horror tube anthology with stories by lots of horror tubers, including Steve Donahue and Dane Cobain, and stories about frostbite and forests in the winter and various monsters and yetis and things. This is a cute little tin of tomato paste, and we got the tomato pulp here. Those onions are getting a nice golden colour now. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of this tomato paste. Stir it in. Cooking it here will get rid of some of the bitterness of the tomato. I need a better pan. That's ready now. And I've added the vegetables to the beef mince. Do you like that Christmas tree? Next prompt. Nighttime, a book that focuses on the night or has something interesting, has some interesting scenes set in the dark. This would be James Herbert's The Dark. Things go crazy at night. The Dark is quite similar to his other book, The Fog, where people go crazy in the fog. Here they go crazy in the dark. There's some very macabre scenes, there's zombies. It was his 4th novel, and you'd be very scared of the dark after reading it. Later Life, a book that talks about aging or prominently features older characters. For this I choose Embers by the Hungarian writer Sándor Márai. It's set in a castle in the woods, and an old general is waiting for a distant friend who he hasn't seen for 41 years, and over their meal they talk about their friendship, they're dueling with words, they're talking about the general's late wife. It's a fascinating book, and it focuses on the lifetimes of these two men and what they've done, what they haven't done, and what they regret. It's a great read. Next prompt. Until the End of My Days, a book that you think will stick with you for life and or that you can imagine rereading later and still getting a lot from. I would say Beloved by Toni Morrison. I read it for the first time in August. It's an amazing book. It's about the pain of slavery and about the very difficult choice a woman must make about her children. It's a fantastic book, and I think it deserves a reread sometime soon. At the end of the day, a cliche or trope that annoys you. This is Harry Potter. A trope that annoys me in fantasy is this evil lord thing. In Harry Potter there's Voldemort, he who must not be named. In Lord of the Rings it's Sauron. In The Wheel of Time it's the Dark Lord. This idea that there's a Dark Lord and he's not there for much but to just be dark and evil. So you got this, you end up rooting for those who are opposed to him. I prefer my morality less black and white. I like the Game of Thrones because you have characters like Jaime Lannister who does some very bad things and does some very good things, rather than just having good against bad. Now I'm adding the kidney beans. It's been about 40 minutes it's been cooking. You stir them around. And then the special ingredient, chocolate. 3 pieces of chocolate. You don't taste the chocolate in the chili con carne, but without it you would notice the difference. It gives it a richer flavour. So here it is all together. We'll give it another 10 minutes. Who do I tag? I'll tag Elizabeth from Bookings and Books because she likes anything with chocolate. I'll tag Bill Ruttenberg because he likes chili, it's his favourite dish. And I'll tag Jen at Remembered Reads because I'm sure she'd have some interesting answers. If you like this video, you can like and subscribe below, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye. And here is the finished dish, chili con carne with rice, ready to eat. And there's a small one for Eleni. Gemrielad meat.
Yes! Delicious. Thank you.